All right, I got a new toy in the mail today. This little guy here, he's not a kit, so it was already all put together. And it is a DTMF generator, a AE11A04, made in China by Electex, I don't know, whatever. What does it say? Specific general. There's two connectors on it, so I guess one's specific, one's general. 5 to 24 volts. And on this side, we have a keyboard matrix for the DTMF. We have a DTMF generator chip, and we have a little microprocessor to read the keyboard. So this is a cool little chip. It is a serial input DTMF generator, so it's really cool. You have clock and data in and DTMF out, and all you need to supply is a crystal to it, and it's all self-contained. So that's a cool little chip. I may have to get some chips. It might be cheaper to buy boards. Sometimes that's true, but I'm going to see if maybe I can buy that chip for a project I have in mind. But yeah, this is a cool little board. So what I want to do is I want to try it out and then see if we can't measure it. How would you measure DTMF? Okay, we have our board here, and I have one connector going to an amplifier so we can hear it. And I have the second one going to the oscilloscope so we can see it. And you can see we have these complicated waveforms. So if you had to look at these waveforms and try to figure out, well, which frequency is what, it's very difficult to tell. So what we need to do is we actually need to do a spectral analysis. We can't do a time domain analysis. We actually need a frequency domain analysis. So how are we going to do that? Well, they do make audio frequency spectrum analyzers. So if I had one of those, I would show it to you, but I do not have an audio frequency spectrum analyzer. I might be able to take the audio signals and mix them into RF and then take a look at them in RF. Might be able to do that, but that's a bit too complicated. I already have this nice Rigol scope, so we're going to use this Rigol scope to take a look at the frequency domain. All right, so we've seen the waveforms in the oscilloscopes and they're a bit confusing. So what we want to do is we actually want to look at them on a spectrum analyzer. We want to see the two tones on a spectrum analyzer. We want to see a peak for one tone and a peak for the other tone. But my spectrum analyzer doesn't go down that low. It only goes to 100 kilohertz or 10 kilohertz, something like that. Mine goes to 9 kilohertz. And I think the Tiny SA goes to 10 kilohertz, something like that. It certainly doesn't go down to the audio range though. So what you can do is you can use your oscilloscope if you have a fancy one. So my Rigol oscilloscope has the ability to do an FFT. Now an FFT is basically taking the time domain and transforming it back into the frequency domain. And so the upper trace is the time domain and the bottom purple trace is the frequency domain. And you can see we have two peaks there. Let's see if I can point here. We have a peak here and then we have a peak here, right? Have these two peaks. Now when I push the buttons, you can see those two are kind of close together now. Now I'm going to go across the top row. And you can see the first tone stayed the same, but the second tone moved over. I'm going to go to the third column, and it moved over a little bit more, moved over a little bit more. So this is all the top row. Okay? So we can see that the top row has the same first tone but different second tones. Okay, let's go to the second row. Now you see the first tone moved over a little bit, but now if we go in the row, the second tone, the second tone moves over. Okay, so when you go in columns, the second tone moves, and when you go in rows, the first one goes. Okay, so I'm going to go down this is the upper left, and I'm going to go down the column. You can see just the first tone moves. Now I'm going to go across in the columns, first row. I'm going to go across the first row. And you can see that it's the second tone that's moving. So that's how the matrix is set up. The second higher tone is columns, and the first tone, which is the lower tone, is rows. And let's go down diagonally. They'll both move. That's kind of fun. All right, so I've been talking about DTMF. Some people might not know what that exactly is, but it's dual tone multiple frequency. So dual tone, two tones, and different types of those at multiple frequencies. And so this is the matrix of the keyboard. There's going to be some way of generating these tones, 697, 770, and all the way across here. So when you press the one, it says take that tone and send them out at the same time. And you press the A, you get that one and that one. And we saw in our measurements that if we went across the row, the first number didn't change because it's the lowest. This is higher. So these are all lower than these, right? So 700 to 1,000. These are all lower than 1,200 to 1,600. So these are the low tones. These are the high tones. So if you go across a row, you get the same low tone, but you get different high tones. If you go down a column, you get the same high tone, but different low tones. So this was invented for the telephone industry. Previous to this, there were rotary telephones that sent the numbers in a pulse train. So many number of pulses was the number one, so many pulses was the number two. I think the number one was 2 pulses, and the number 3 was 4 pulses. I think it was always one more than you had. I don't know. I don't remember now. And then they went to the touch tone system. So touch tone telephones. They were very, very cool. You just push the buttons. Now, a regular telephone at home wouldn't have this last column. It would only have these numbers. And the fourth column was really only used inside of the telephone company to do switching and stuff. They were special tones to do special things, but the consumer only had access to the first 3 columns.